Okay, so as I was on my forced YouTube vacation, somebody brought it to my attention that Pearl, the videos with her and Nick Fuentes were taken down. And so I went and I looked at my video, and I put all the sources in my videos. So I noticed that they were gone. I was like, wow, it's gone. But it was put into private mode, right? So this is the video that I'm referring to. Let's see, source right here. It's unavailable. And it said that the video is private, which means it wasn't taken down because of some kind of like community guidelines violation or restriction. And that conversation was from a while ago. Probably should have looked at that before I closed the tab. Yeah, so that thing all happened, let's just say like 3 weeks ago. Yeah. And so I guess Pearl addresses the Nick Fuentes interview. Let's see what she has to say. And then I want to watch this like short video here. It's just about JustPearlyThings also plagiarist. It's probably something silly. But I'm still curious. Mostly because like there's only 4 manosphere questions, right? It's like, are women people? Are women objects? Are women dumb? And are men the best, right? So that like, there's no way that there's not going to be overlap. Let's see what we got here.
What up, guys? Welcome to the JustPearlyThings.
Oh, we have terrible audio.
YouTube channel, and welcome to Morning Coffee Thoughts, where I give my thoughts over morning coffee. Today I have a chai tea.
I believe doesn't chai stand for tea? Whatever. Who cares?
I quit coffee. You guys don't care about what I'm drinking. Okay. Today, I'm going to be addressing the Nick Fuentes situation. Yeah, I know why you guys are here. Okay.
Well, that's what the title of the video is. So that's why people are here. Yeah, of course. Like,
so.
Okay.
I want to first say I take full accountability for everything that happened. Everything that happened.
Bro, I wish I saved the clips. There were clips where she was even getting visibly uncomfortable. Like, that's when you know. Because if there's a thought in her head, then that means something's wrong, okay?
In life, as I say to the girls on my show, is my own fault. The fact that people are making these videos is my own fault. And the situation that I'm in is my own fault. Now, I'm going to give you guys an explanation and give you guys context for some of the conversations that were had. Just know it's not an excuse. It's my own fault. I take full accountability.
Well, I can respect that
for everything that happened. Okay. So, but I'm going to answer questions that people have brought.
My favorite thing is people are very upset about my Nick Fuentes. They're like, you're getting so many things wrong instantaneously, because I brought up the fact that like he compares sleeping with like black people to sleeping with dogs. He says they're both degenerate acts. And I mistakenly said that he thinks that these things are equally degenerate. But all of the people who are saying that I'm wrong and Nick Fuentes aren't racist, what they're saying is like, no. He said they're both degenerate, but sleeping with dogs is worse. And I'm like, wow, instantly you're not racist anymore. If you just think it's a degenerate act to sleep with somebody outside your race, but it's not as degenerate as sleeping with a dog, you're right. That's clearly not racist. Like that, you fooled me wrong. You got me, proved me wrong. I'm a silly goose. I'm so sorry. How would I ever think that that's yeah, so.
My way. So the first thing is, why did you have Nick on?
Okay. She had Nick on because he's a popular person and she wanted to have him on. That's it. There was no investigation. There's no research. I think that she probably, like, this is what happens when you become anti-woke, right? I understand wokeness is annoying, but becoming anti-woke is just as annoying. When you become anti-woke, you think that everything that somebody is saying about a person is wrong. It's just all, it's all propaganda. It's all this. It's all that. It's not. If you enjoy Nick Fuentes, God bless you. Hopefully he does bless you and with you some intelligence at some point. But he's not a good person. He's a racist who thinks that like people that aren't white are inferior, that we should have a white America. And he uses the argument of like, oh, well, we need to maintain culture to mean we need to maintain whiteness. Whiteness is irrelevant to our culture. We need to make sure that we monitor immigration so that people come in and we have time to make sure that they get on board with our culture, of course. But who cares what color they are? It doesn't matter. We don't need to preserve whiteness in the United States. It's literally irrelevant. And some of these people are so upset that they'll even interpret jokes I make as like if I'm being anti-white. I made a joke about how we should eradicate all white people by having like government mandated big booty, thick Latina and black women marry white guys or something. It's just like a stupid joke. And people were like enraged. They were like, you see, this guy wants to get rid of white people. It's like, bro, what? Like, there's no way. You don't have to like the joke. But if you can't understand the joke, it's a very basic one. A 4th grader could have gotten it. Black Manosphere was not happy with Pearl. Oh, that's the only reason why she's taking accountability. Is because like people in the Manosphere were upset. Okay. Great.
So, the reasoning behind having Nick Fuentes on was because I heard that he was on the no-fly list and he lost his bank account. Now, from your point of view,
maybe you should go find it.
You would think, why would you invite someone on that's on the no-fly list, right? That would be a bad. Well, he's not.
That doesn't matter. It's fine to engage with people. It's the fact that you just like let him speak without giving any like interruption. You didn't know anything that was going on. You just got steamrolled.
Anymore. That's how he flew, but he was. So I was more just curious why this man was banned and everything. Now,
you could have asked him in private.
I've seen a lot of videos.
You could have looked it up.
That play dumb.
You could have asked Destiny. You hang, although he made you look a little silly. So
playing dumb, and I'll tell you what I knew and what I didn't know. So I did know that he was a known racist. I did know he was a known.
You did or didn't? Hold on. Let me just say.
What I knew and what I didn't know. So I did know that he was a known racist.
So you did know.
I did know he was a known sexist.
You did. You
did know that basically
you did
every
know?
bad name in the book from the right and the left, everyone hated him. So the reason I had him on was because, guys, people say that stuff about me. They say I'm sexist. They say I'm a misogynist. And
well, they don't say you're racist. Who's saying that about you, bro? All the I think that people are really saying is like, where if you're such like an incredible high value woman or whatever, where's your ring? How come nobody wants to date you? People are like, this girl's the girl I wanted. It's like, but nobody will date her. Yeah.
And I really just like to give people the benefit of the doubt when I interview them. I don't go into interviews trying to interrogate someone. I just more try to listen and see where they're coming from. In hindsight, that wasn't smart.
Oh,
and in
you learn through experience.
I should have had someone, maybe Sarah Garvey, maybe another content creator that could have pushed back more and really was more educated on the topics that he was talking about than I. You
mean like Destiny? Like you had him on.
Was because I certainly was not an expert in any of the stuff that he was talking about. I did remove the interview. I, again, did not think through a lot of the repercussions of posting that, so I just removed it.
Again, it seems like the only real repercussion is that people in the manosphere are upset with her. And if it wasn't for them, this would have been totally fine to her. This apology wouldn't be coming unless people in her own sphere were upset with her. And I understand why they would be upset. Because, he's racist.
If you do want to see the full interview.
I think that there was this clip of her, of Nick Fuentes talking to like an Italian girl, talking about how like her family probably hates her black boyfriend or something. It was like really messed up shit.
Obsidian did react to it. That's on his channel.
I don't know what her name is.
The intention was not, I guess, to hide it. It was just, this might not have been the best move. I'm just going to remove it now.
Sure, fair enough.
So again, racism has no place in society, and I do take accountability for bringing him on.
With Nick Fuentes.
Hindsight's always 20/20. I wrote down some of the complaints that people had. So if I look this way, it's just because I made bullet points of everyone's concerns, and I'm just addressing them. Okay.
I'm ready for it, girl.
My Africans, that part. So in the heat of the conversation,
Africans,
I made some remarks to my producer, Blessing. Now, Blessing is a godsend. Okay, Blessing has made the production quality literally phenomenal. He's so talented.
Oh, cool. What is their name? Blessing?
Okay, Blessing. I made the remarks to my producer, Blessing. Now, Blessing.
Oh, that's an interesting name. Okay.
Is a godsend. Okay, Blessing has made the production quality literally phenomenal. He's so talented. And during this conversation, we were talking about immigration, and I said, I'm trying to get my Africans to America. Now, I watched it back, guys. It was so cringy. Oh my gosh, it was so embarrassing.
I don't know what that means.
I meant my African employees. I just said Africans. The reason is because, like, why wouldn't you just say my employees or whatever to America? The African passport system is just more difficult. I
don't really know. The problem with Pearl is that she misrepresents so many things. I don't even know what she's like. What is she even referring to? I need a clip.
Than the UK one.
Let's see if I can find it.
I didn't know. Like, Blessing had to go to the embassy or something to apply to go to America with me next month. We're going to go do some work there. And, and so I've just found that the immigration process is a bit more difficult. So that's why I referred to them, because my African employees, I needed more help with. And, I was saying in the interview that I wanted more open border policies because I wanted them to come. Again, I really respect the African culture. I had no ill will or malice towards any of that. But it sounded absolutely awful.
I looked up all these. I just looked up Just Pearly Things Africans to America because that's what she said. And there's so many videos. Just Pearly Things disrespects black people. Just Pearly Things taught black Americans this. Just Pearly Things calls black Americans lazy. What is happening? What did she actually say? What is actually said? This is nuts. What?
It was so cringy watching back. You know, so it was stupid. It was stupid. Okay.
Hold on. Let me see. Wait, give me like 1 second.
That's okay. Blessing was more late African.
Well, he's black.
Yeah.
A few days ago, JustPearlyThings had an interview.
This is from somebody. Okay.
With white supremacists or white nationalists, whichever you want to categorize.
I kind of want to watch this to see like what's going on.
Him, Nick Fuentes. Now, Nick Fuentes is a 24-year-old man who is very outspoken about white nationalism and things like that. So she had him on a live stream. Now, what's very interesting about that is JustPearlyThings has a podcast that is based in London. And I would say that the majority of her full-time cast, I would say, would be a member of the Black London community. Like there's King Richards over there. There's a few other brothers over there. And they've built that channel into a really good powerhouse. He's really organized.
There are a lot of black people in the manosphere. I'm just saying. There's just a lot of them. It's disproportionate. It's fine. It's just interesting. I wonder why.
And things like that. Which would make me wonder why she's interviewing Nick Fuentes. Now, typically she talks about things like modern women. A lot of the things that you would see in the manosphere are talking points. And a lot of people have accused her of, stealing from Kevin Samuels or stealing from the manosphere and then monetizing it.
I mean, there's literally only, again, there's like 2 talking points in the manosphere. It's like women bad, men good. Like that's it. So there's nothing to really steal from. I mean, it's not like a super robust talking points.
But this interview with Nick Fuentes proves to me that she's trying to take her business into a different reality. Probably because she feels like at some point there's going to be a dead end for the modern women thing.
That's actually probably true. There's no sustainability, specifically in what Pearl's doing. So I don't know what it is, but there's just, I really think that after the Destiny conversation, it just kind of showed people that she just can't really fend for herself. And she's a silly goose, And
I noticed when she's live, she doesn't get nearly as many viewers as Fresh and Fit. So I think she's trying to make the same pivot that Adam 22 is trying to make, and even like Joe Budden. They're trying to bring on like controversial people. You see Adam 22 bringing on people like Tariq Nasheed. He wants to have Tariq Nasheed debate people on his platform and all that. And again, that's to get into a larger audience, right? And that's not just them doing it. It's a lot of people. Valuetainment is doing that same playbook. So all of them are trying to get into a different market. And doing so, they're using people who will have controversial views, such as Nick Fuentes. Now, let me just say this. Popular YouTuber Jason Black, who also runs the business YouTube channel, has pointed this out. And I know brother Jason Black, he was way more popular than me when I first started YouTube, and he has a really strong audience. He has a really loyal fan base. I've had a chance to
best way to do it, baby.
Talk to him one time on Instagram, not Instagram, Facebook Messenger. We were
Facebook Messenger. Holy moly! Even that's boomer shit.
Both friends on Facebook, and I like what he has to say as a pro-black myself, right? I don't disagree with him too much with the things that I've heard. However, when he criticized JustPearlyThings in the past, people were saying that he was a hater, he was jealous of her success, and all of this, right? So
wow, I guess he's probably right then, because people are bizarrely like the most. Listen. Okay, I've never engaged with a more toxic audience. Well, I guess I can't say that because I got banned on TikTok because the liberals got me. But some of these more conservative people are fucking toxic as hell. I guess everybody's just toxic. It's nuts.
On his channel, the business YouTube platform, he has broken down the interview with JustPearlyThings into timestamps. So it was very easy for me to follow to see what I wanted to see. And at first, JustPearlyThings, who has, like I said, a lot of black employees, King Richards being one of them. They were having a conversation about African employees.
Sounds like she's a modern day slave driver. Let's be real, guys. Anytime a white person employs a non-white person, I'm just don't ban me. The joke.
Versus American employees, and this is what Jason Black was trying to point out, that he felt that she was trying to take a diss at African Americans. So I want to play that clip and let's see if he's right.
I wonder what Miss PearlyThings thinks of African immigrants versus Black Americans, specifically descendants of slaves, foundationals. I wonder what
foundationals, interesting,
she thinks of that if we get into the immigration discussion. I wonder what she's gonna say if you ask her about that.
Okay.
Brace yourselves, all of her supporters.
No.
Oliver supporters.
And that's not a conservative position, especially not 50 million people in 10 years.
Right.
Because America's got 300 million. So, what is that? 1/6 of the population in 10 years.
And so why is that?
Why does he support that?
No, why are you against him pro? Because in my head, see,
okay,
I hire people from Africa, right? Shout out Blessing.
Yeah.
And I just see like the work ethic of people that are like not from America, and they often work harder than the people that are from America.
Okay.
So in my head, it's like, wouldn't it help us economically if we had more, like if they had a certain like mindset in order?
I kind of agree with that. Not for nothing, but listen, no offense, but the people I've worked with before, the fucking like guys from El Salvador, the hardest working guys I've ever like. Not for nothing, but you know, like I mean, I don't know. Listen, because I'm a hard working guy myself, not anymore, but like yeah, a lot of people from other countries they have like a better work ethic. I feel like in America, a lot of people who are born here are a little more privileged and entitled. And sometimes they don't work as hard. I don't see anything particularly racist about what she's saying. It's like a cultural thing. Only from Africa? Is that what people are upset about because she said only from Africa? I don't know. Just the guys that I've worked with, they've been fine. Like they seem to. I think it's just like people who were born in America, they tend to get a little bit lazier and more entitled. You know, I feel like people who from other countries work harder. You know, I think it's a cultural thing. You know, when you haven't had everything handed to you on a fucking silver platter, you work harder. So, yeah, okay.
Well, I told you were going to get your hearts and your feelings and your souls broken. There's no way you can defend her now and sit up here and say you cool with it. She just outright told you, well, they work harder than people. Now, you know she means black.
Is that what she meant? Did I miss something?
Economically, if we had more, like, if they had a certain, like, mindset in order.
Well,
I'm confused. Is she saying that African people work harder than black people?
And I just see, like, the work ethic of people that are, like, not from America, and they often work harder than the people that are from America. So in my head, it's like, wouldn't it help us economically if we had...
I feel like that might be... I mean, listen, maybe I'm wrong. I feel like she was just saying that, like, I don't know, black people from... I don't think that she was comparing, like, black people from Africa to black people in America or something. I think that she was just saying that, like, in her experience, immigrants work harder.
Way you can defend her now and sit up here and say you cool with people from America.
So in this first clip, I thought it...
Yeah, fucking white liberals. Lazy. I always talk about it. I think that she was just I don't think it was that deep, man, because like listen, man, you know, all the people who are always complaining about how the system is broken are usually like young people, mostly white, and it is broken, but they're people who've never held down a job for longer than like 6 months and they're complaining about the system being broken. And you're right, but like you don't know shit. You know, the guys I want to hear complaining are like the fucking 45-year-old guys who've worked 2 jobs just to put food on the table. You know, those are the people that I want to hear. Those, you know what I mean? So I don't think that she was trying to say that black people in America are lazy, though.
It was sort of a reach because she's just saying Americans, and he's trying to insinuate that she's saying black people are African Americans. So I really couldn't nail her on that particular talking point, right? But it gets worse. Okay. Jason Black does a yeoman's job in really nailing her to the cross on this next point. Now, this is going to be a point about being on time, and you're going to hear what Nick Fuentes has to say about black people after that. I'm going to play that particular clip right there, and then we'll come back.
Very industrious.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of people that would like to be a YouTuber because they'd like to hear, people.
Okay, now let me back up just a little.
True. Its job is easier. You just sit down, at least for me. I just sit here and watch fucking videos all day. Let's be real. It is the dream job. The only problem with it is like no consistency sometimes, but you know.
A bit more here because he's talking about people being...
I'll just go get a real job once it ends.
Hardworking. He's talking about people in general from various other places. I think he mentioned Germany. But I want you to get the full context of this. So when she says, it smacks you upside the back of the head like a cinder block.
Yeah.
I was like, STEM, no. They all said I was crazy. Who's laughing now? Who's laughing now? Austin.
Well, but you're very industrious.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of people that would like to be a YouTuber because they'd like people to care about their opinions and like what they ate for lunch and, you know, things about my life that just make sense or whatever. But how many people can make a company and deal with the things you deal with, you know, like recruiting and, you know, because I mean, not on the same scale as you, but I do things and it's tough. You know, it's a business. It's fun not in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, it's a business. And that is a German attribute, to be industrious. I'm Italian. The only times I'm on time for things is when I like get the time wrong, when I think I'm supposed to be there way earlier than I'm actually supposed to be there. Because I thought I was supposed to be here at 3.
Oh, really?
That's why I texted you. I texted you, I'm on my way because I thought I was already 10 minutes late when I was leaving.
Yeah, well, it's okay. Blessing was more late African.
Well, he's black.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus. You know, it's one thing to make a little bit of a joke about like yourself or Italians because Italians deserve to get bullied. I'm just kidding. But damn. Jesus. And the problem is like you have to understand the intentionality. The joke individually, like if you made like a joke like that, isn't necessarily too bad, especially like if you're having like a little bit of fun with it. You know, you want to make fun of like white people for eating everything with mayo and just, you know, Sprite being too spicy, you know, like whatever. You want to make like a little joke here and there, but like, you know, it's coming from Nick Fuentes, somebody who thinks that black people are just like fundamentally inferior. And he said that your IQs, they think that like that they are genetically inferior because their IQs, even though that this is compared to like black people who have faced historical systemic racism and don't have the same opportunities as like other people in the country. Like, so it's coming off as like, yes, black people are bad. Like, that's what it is. Like, that's the difference between, like, it's not lighthearted when you actually believe that people are inferior. So,
where are all the folks who said I was a hater? Where are all the folks who were sitting up here saying, well, Jason, you reaching, you stretching? Where are all of them now?
In this instance, for Pearl not to give any pushback is probably because she doesn't realize how absolutely like incredibly racist Nick Fuentes is. So I wouldn't shit on her too much for this one, because she did absolutely no research on how like bad this guy is. So
I want to know where all of them are after tonight. Yeah, ha ha ha, he. What's so damn funny? What's so damn funny now? Oh yeah, before this is over, I'm gonna name names. What's so damn funny now? You can't lie and say you didn't see this. Jason Black has been talking about this now for over a year, for about 2 years now, and I've been naming this chick in particular. I said it from day one. Hey, she doesn't need to be given any space around here. I said it the whole time. Where are the folks who are sitting up criticizing me now? Because you're gonna have to justify this. And you're gonna have to justify.
Wait until I hear her opinion on slavery. What do you mean? What did she say?
Why it is that Jason said it the whole time, and you were defending it the whole time, and you're just now saying something. By the way, yeah, you all thought she was going to leave it alone. That wasn't Fuentes who brought up the black people this time. He talked about him being late.
She was the one to bring up her black producer, though. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't think that she had any like racist intentionality on that one. It's more of just like she doesn't understand the atmosphere she's in with Nick Fuentes being there.
And then she brings up the black folk around her. You know, those cute little African that she has working for her.
Didn't she just say she knew he was racist? Yeah, she did. Listen, you could think I'm being a little too charitable to her. I'm usually not. But I think that she knew that he was being called racist and sexist and this, that, and the other thing, and she didn't believe it because she's anti-woke and she thinks that everything is just a conspiracy, and she still can't come to terms with the fact that like even she's like sexist against women with her dumb fucking ideologies that she like that literally make her look worse. You know, that's I don't think that it was malicious in her bringing up of this person.
She's the one who brings them up.
So guys, you can argue a lot of things, but one of the things you can't do is argue with the truth. That clip is really disrespectful, not only to the African person Blessing, because this is the same person that you said you want to bring to America because they work better than Americans, but at the same time, you're saying that, well, she's late.
Is she moving to America?
African, right?
I think Blessing is a guy.
And then he says, yeah, she's late, well, because she's black. And then you laughed. So here's something that I really want to honestly say, right? And I know like a lot of black dudes in the manosphere, black manosphere, like JustPearlyThings. Obviously, I don't think most of her audience is black, but you do have some brothers that were defending her. And she has worked with a lot of black YouTubers. I mean, I have emails of her asking me for an interview in 2021 when she was still small. But if you guys know me, I don't really work with, I don't really collaborate outside of the race, even on YouTube. So it kind of goes against my personal goals. Not to say that I don't like anybody, I'm racist or anything, but I'm a black YouTuber and I am a pro-black, so I only really work with the black YouTube community or black content creators. What she said right there is completely disrespectful. The guy is right.
Me too. I only work with the neckbeards on YouTube because I'm a big fat neckbeard.
All right. If you want to have those conversations, like, and I have friends of other races, and you know, if we're gonna joke around like we have before, you know what I'm saying, like offline or say certain things. I mean, even with other Africans, you know, we can do that. But to say that publicly and then laugh. That was an opportunity for you to be like, yo, bro, that's like not cool, or cut that comment out of the live stream. But he's right. She's the one that brought it up. Like, he wasn't bringing up the fact that her staff was late. You said Blessing, then African. And again, it's like, okay, she said that, you know, but Jason Black says, you know, we brought her into this black space. I don't really think that's the case. I think that, you know, she started aligning herself with black people onto
how sad she looks in this clip.
Her show. And so that made it more comfortable for certain blacks to come. And then she's talking real, you know, a lot of stuff about women. You know, she was reviewing hip hop and things like that. So she was trying to put herself into the space like Adam 22 put herself in the space. Like,
I think that Pearl's like more comfortable with black people because she like, I think she dates black guys. Like she dated, what was it? Angry Reactions. Which is a black YouTuber, and like, let's be absolutely real. there's a lot of white people, especially. I have the video here. I'll put it in the description of like because they broke up a while ago. That video's doing pretty well. I didn't even notice. These are like there's a lot, especially white liberals, who are like afraid of black people. They're like, I advocate for black rights, but they would never like talk to a person that's black because they're like afraid of it's a weird version of racism. I think that's the only reason why she feels comfortable, I guess. You know, I don't think everything is like poor intentionality. You know, gotta give her a little bit of credit where credit is due.
Vlad puts himself into the space, and I guess, you know, Jason Black is trying to be upset that these people are letting her into the space. I don't know if she did that per YouTube, because again, that's how it kind of works when you're targeting that sort of audience. But the reality is, he overall is right. I can't get around that, man. Like, nobody can say that Jason Black is not right. You can call him whatever you want to call him. I know a lot of brothers don't like Jason Black and whatever. You know, I heard that, you know, like Mr. Fantastic called into the show. He hung up on the guy. He might treat his callers bad or whatever you might say. But this one, he's right, because he got it right there on tape. And again, you know, Just Pearly Things doesn't take black people that serious, bro. And one of the reasons why is because we don't challenge it. Like, she would never do that with any other community. But yes, she can say that African thing out there and knows that, like, hey, you're not going to have any problems with that. And that's the situation. So, I mean, I think that the brother is completely 100% right on what he said. And again, you're free to listen to who you want us to listen to. But at the same time, just know that people are out there willing to be disrespectful towards you. They'll be willing to laugh at folks saying that all black people are late. I don't care if you're talking about she dates black men or she has a black boyfriend. I don't care about that, man. Like, seriously. You know what I mean? And for black YouTubers that go and deal with her, I mean, you know, more power.
Damn. Listen, personally, I just wouldn't be so, like, I wouldn't criticize women so heavily for their looks if I was going to show up on camera like this. Not trying to be rude. She looks wonderful. Okay. I love women without makeup. Just saying, though. Okay. I wouldn't be, you know, you kind of get the energy that you put into the universe. Okay. That's all I'm saying. So,
power to you. I don't have no problem with you. That's, you know, nothing I can do about that. But then just also know she don't have no respect for you either. So okay. Any black YouTuber after that goes over there, let's say, for example, you didn't know at first, fine. If you show up to her podcast knowing that, just know that you give her more reason not to take black people that serious. And she owes the black community an apology for that. And that's all I have to say. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy.
Okay. Interesting video. Obviously going to take that into consideration. This person has another video, though, called Just Pearly Things Says This Horrible Thing About Black Slavery. I'm actually very interested because somebody said that there was something pretty messed up.
What?
Oh, Jesus. Jump scare.
Good, everybody. It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson. Back at it. It's known as the Black Manosphere. I was the founder of the defunct NegroManosphere.com.
Okay.
I was one of
Okay, I just kind of want to get to the Just Play
to Obsidian and Angry Man. Okay. But one of the things is when you're a part of a community, sometimes the vision goes into different ways.
Where's the
and
part?
Me being more, I would say, a Pan-African feel or more pro-black than some of the other brothers I would feel. There was a lot more, let's say, zeal to be more conservative. And I'm talking about conservative as, you know, the conservatism that is more or less with the whites. Okay, I would say it like that. So whenever white people do something, a lot of the brothers didn't want to call it out or make excuses for it. And whenever something happened with black folks, we would be all over it. Pookies and Ray Rays, the Black Manospheres, all over it.
Okay, I get what he's saying. Like, people are more comfortable criticizing their own sphere. Yeah, that's generally, I get what you're saying. Okay.
When you're talking about single motherhood in the black community, brothers is all over it. Whenever somebody white does something, the brothers are quickly defended it. And I noticed that community was coming together really, fairly quickly. And so when I noticed that, me being a part of the Black Manosphere, when Just Pearly Things was coming up, I didn't want to divide the brothers because I love the Black Manosphere, right? So I didn't want to come out and take what I would say immediate shots at the young lady. I didn't really know her content. She reached out to me in 2021 to give me an interview. I don't really collaborate with the non-black YouTubers. It's a policy of mine. It's not mean, but I want to be in black YouTube. I strictly want to deal with the black content creators in the black community.
Like, it comes off as racist, but I also kind of get where he's coming from. Where it's one of those things where he doesn't want to go into another community. That sounds so bizarre. But there can be, like, if we remove the black part, moving into other communities on YouTube is bizarre because you get like different people who don't know who you are and they interact differently. And for a lot of people that would be a positive because you get to have more exposure. For some people who are more interested in like community building, I could see why they would want to maintain their in whatever community it is, whether it's like the gaming community, like the Manosphere community, the furry community, the World of Warcraft community. So
when Just Pearly Things started rising, and then you had, black women topics on our platform, some of the brothers from the pro-black community came towards me about that. I stayed really out of that because of my relationship with the black manosphere community, right? But I'm here to say enough is enough. I'm fully, I would say, more or less in the Pan-African community and pro-black community of YouTube than even the black manosphere, although I still have roots there. And one of the reasons is because too many black men in content creators, I won't call any names, you guys, when white people are really saying stuff against the black community, you brothers will do anything to defend that. You will be all over black women, all over Pookie and Ray Ray. And when it's blatant, then you guys make excuses, man, like stupid excuses. Some of you newer content creators in the black manosphere, you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not in America. So I just, kind of gave up my position or whatever else. But, the way that you Negroes even come to your conclusions, there's a lot to be desired with some of y'all IQ levels. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Right? There are a lot of guys right now in the black manosphere talking, a lot of conservative talking points right now. The number one, for my honest opinion, it don't make sense. And obviously some of these guys are just not smart or accomplished. Right? I won't call names, but that's the case. So Just Pearly Things is somebody that Negroes in the black manosphere, not everybody, but are defending. Now, what are they defending?
I want to see the slavery clip.
Jason Black, who's taken shots at the black manosphere before. I understand this smoke for Just Pearly. Back.
Is the Holocaust special? Holocaust was not
and black people. And I'm going to play that and I'm going to come back.
Argument was the Holocaust was not special and all countries have done that.
Yeah.
And so
exactly.
you're saying, why is the Holocaust special?
Yeah, basically.
Oh.
Well, Nick Fuentes doesn't think that the Holocaust happened. He's a Holocaust denier. There have been a lot of different tragedies in the world. Absolutely. If you want to argue that the only reason that the world cares as much about this particular tragedy is because it's involved white people, sure, argue that. Doesn't diminish the existence of this, which, again, Nick Fuentes doesn't think that the Holocaust is real. He's a Holocaust denier. That's just a fact. I don't know what else to tell you. Realistically speaking, I don't know in history if we've had a moment, especially in recent history, where in such a short amount of time we've gotten so many people together and like mass executed them. Well, not we. But like Germans did, Nazis. So like, I think that's why it's a significant moment where like 10 million people were killed. They were put in camps and they were, killed. I think that like it's very particular. There might be more in non-white countries that we don't talk about in the same way, which we should. And if there is, like, let's talk about that. I have no idea. I was never educated on that. There's like a whole class on the Holocaust to make sure that, we as a people don't repeat that action. But again, I'm sure that there are other horrific, tragic moments that are on par. Maybe, I don't know, really. There could be on par with the Holocaust. We just don't talk about it. Okay? And maybe we should talk about those more. I don't think that there's been a modern tragedy as intense as the Holocaust. But again, understand this comes through Nick Fuentes, somebody who just denies it. And he's saying anything he can to slowly break down your feelings on a particular topic. So he's not going to start by saying the Holocaust didn't happen. He doesn't think it did. He's going to start off by saying, like, is it really much worse than other bad things? And he slowly, and as you start to watch him more, it slowly breaks down. So it starts at, well, oh yeah, it's bad, but is it as bad as other things? And it slowly breaks down. And so it's like, but did it really happen? That's kind of the strategy that he's engaging with. And this is why you shouldn't be platforming him with it without you knowing.
What do you mean, basically?
Well, yeah, I mean, because of course, we're getting into the details of it, but yeah, that's the gist.
Yeah, I mean, but you kind of deny it happened.
I deny some of the parts of it.
You deny parts of it don't seem realistic to you. You think they were embellished upon.
I think they're embellished. Yeah,
the same way. This sounds. Oh gosh.
Oh boy.
They're gonna get in trouble. This sounds similar to the slavery stuff too, because that's literally they.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm gonna have to walk away for a second. Damn.
The founder of, or the guy who made Roots said, I wanted a myth for my people to live by. So they often, but that's what they do is they embellish, and I'm not trying to say it wasn't horrible, it was.
Right.
But they want to make it like more horrible so that they can control people.
So let me just see this, okay?
Wow, that's pretty rough. This is basically what she said. Do we really treat slaves that badly? Wow, that's so based. Okay, now I can see why people are upset with her on that one. Jesus, she just said, is it really that bad? Now, what I will say when it comes to our modern depiction of slavery, it is bizarre. And it's bizarre because if you look at most slavery movies, it's from the perspective of a white person. And the movie it's about slavery, but it's about the good white guy who's not owning and beating slaves. And you're like, wow, Matthew Broderick, you're an incredible person for doing the bare minimum. That's the part that I think is weird. We have like a lot of slavery movies are through the lens of a white character when it's supposed to be about like black oppression. And as time goes on, we're seeing more and more movies that do a better job like explaining what actually happened. Was it really that bad? I don't know, man. Jesus Christ. Damn, wow. I think I don't know. Listen, personally, I just wouldn't want to be denied basic human rights. You know, were there some good slave drivers? Maybe some of them were kind of nice, but they still owned people as property. Like what? I not the first thought in my head. What's the outcome of this question? What's the outcome of this? Like, what are you saying it for? Django is a good movie. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. But even then, they had that German guy who was like, but Django was pretty good. It was crazy. Django was pretty good. I like Django. Damn. Like, what's the point of you saying that? Like, oh, maybe it wasn't that bad. Like, for what? What's the outcome of what you're saying? Do you think that black people are using it as an excuse to not work or something? Because people in America talk about like systemic racism still having an impact. Sorry, I'm going too fast. People talk about even today that systemic racism does have an impact, and it does. It still does. Like even if there's no active forms of systemic racism, we're talking about like a fundamental denial of resources. And the bombing of Black Wall Street wasn't great, obviously. As time went on, and so like it robbed people of the ability to be able to have equal footing to white people. And are there some people fundamentally who will over-identify with some identity? Sure, right? In any sphere. There are fat people who blame everything in the world for being fat. There are, short people who blame everything for being short. There's people who across like all identity groups is saying, I can't do something because of this identity. Some people will victimize themselves, but it'll be based off of a real identification. They just end up getting into like a defeatist mentality where they're like, well, fuck, it doesn't matter. I might as well not care anymore. I'm not even going to try. And I understand why. I was afforded more opportunities than a lot of other people, but they still will generally struggle more. If it's like Jaden Smith saying like, oh, I'm a victim, you're going to be silly. You're a millionaire. You've got every opportunity in the world. But like, what's the outcome of what you're saying? Are you just trying to say that people, like black people, are just like complaining too much about slavery? I don't know, bro. I don't know, dude. That seems like a little bit of seems a little sussy to me. I don't know. It's a little rough. I don't know if we did to watch the rest of this video.
Like YouTube.
I think we pretty much got.
Like YouTube. Public.
I think we pretty much got. That's what I wanted to see. I'm still going to link this video in the description. All right, let's get back to what the silly goose is saying about.
Now let's talk about My Africans was the other one, and then the joke about Blessing being late. So one thing that they cut out from that clip was that Nick Fuentes did say after, I'm just giving you a hard time. I'm just kidding. Okay. Now, even so, it was still in poor taste. And what I didn't think about at the time was, sorry, for those that didn't see it, basically Nick Fuentes was
you could just show it to us.
Talking about he's always late. And I said, you're on time today. Oh, bless.
He's talking about how he's always late because he's Italian. That's apparently an Italian quality, which I've never heard. The only Italian quality I know is that it's not gravy. It's not sauce. It's gravy. Hey, let me get some of the gravy. Ma. Sugar in the gravy. There's always a good amount of sugar in the Italian gravy. Pasta fagioli. All those other fun stuff. Okay.
Blessing was the one that's late, and it's sort of an inside joke here at Just Pearly Things. Like Blessing is he's phenomenal, but he's a late guy, and every time he comes in, he says African time. Now Pearl me. So when I
would believe that it probably wasn't. I don't think that she was being racist. It's really more Nick Fuentes's. But
when I was referring to him during this joke, I was like African, Now, I was saying African time, referring to what he says when he comes in. Now, what I realized is this was especially disrespectful because we did have someone that's a known white supremacist race, like, making that joke in front of him, with him, is just in poor taste.
That is the biggest problem. It's not poor taste. You shouldn't even platform him if you weren't ready to counter everything he was saying.
And I did apologize to him for it. I really had no malice or ill will.
Sure.
But,
I wonder what was the guy's name? Blessing has to say about it. Like, Blessing was like, oh, it was a good job. I would like to hear what he has to say. You know what I mean? But if he's just like, yo, listen, it was just misunderstanding, I'd be like, okay, I get it. Right? Because he's he's the one that got hit with the joke more than anybody else.
Stupid. It was just stupid. Okay. The next thing is I've gotten a lot of criticism for
slavery,
using the black culture and then I'm going right and leaving it, like that sort of thing. You can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but that seems to be a big point of contention. My intention was never to be, quote unquote leader in the black manosphere or the manosphere in general.
You certainly are not.
General, I really have always just looked at the men as the leader. I mean, they're the thought leaders. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
And me,
well, then by that logic, you just shouldn't have a channel because the men are the thought leaders. Okay, give the channel to Blessing.
I try to support them in any way I can. I bring them on my show, but saying I'm a leader in the space,
supporting men is shitting on women to Pearl, because that's really all you really do is you shit on women relentlessly, and like you don't hold men. Like, the reality is the manosphere, from everything that I've seen from Pearl, Fresh and Fit, Andrew Tate, it is all a victim complex for men. It is all men complaining that blaming women for all the problems instead of taking accountability for themselves. They'll be like, women have no accountability, and they just blame women on everything. It's sad. It's pathetic.
No, I feel like women follow, men lead. So I really think, that's just my opinion.
Cool.
Now, the other thing was the demographic of the women on my show. Guys, I haven't done recruiting in months. So when I started, I never expected it to blow up this fast. I never in my life thought I'd have 1 million subscribers in a year. I wrote my goals for the year before and it was 100,000. I thought I'd maybe get 100K by the end of the year. That's what I thought.
Let's hope.
Now, everything blew up so fast, and I haven't done recruiting since maybe July. The only time I have is maybe to help out if we're low on a show. So, or if there's a really big panel, like the Andrew Tate panel, I handpicked everyone that was on that. But
hey, thank you, Linda, for the 4-month medium gut. Thank you so much. How you doing?
In general, guys, I really don't recruit.
Okay.
I think one reason
so is she saying that she has other people recruit for her, and then they're talking about the demographic of women? What does that mean? Like the women who work on the show, or the ones that you find? Because it seems like the manosphere just tries to find women who are not great examples of women, and then go, see, look at this bad woman.
That there have been so many black people on the show is because the recruiter that I picked was Nigerian.
Okay.
And he just had the type of job that he could recruit while he went on the job. And he knew a lot of people. He was already in the podcast space. He was just a good recruiter. So it makes sense that he knows more Nigerian women. Yeah. Okay.
I think it has a lot to do with it. Like, there's for whatever reason, there's like a lot of black people in the manosphere. That just seems to be the thing. I see like every once in a while like a white guy in there, but it seems to be like mostly manosphere seems to be like very centralized around like a white, like black people. I don't know why. Like Andrew Tate is, I think he's half black. You got your Fresh and Fits, I don't know what it is. I don't know. So, but it's still your show, no?
But again, yeah. The next part.
I mean, honestly, maybe that's the reason why people haven't criticized the manosphere until finally just now, when honestly other black creators started doing it, like Fresh and Ab and Preach were like the first ones to really criticize the manosphere. Because white people, let's be like I said before, are afraid of black people, so they're probably just like, I don't want to engage with this perspective. White liberals especially, they're like terrified of black people. They like they never met a black person in the real world. It's weird. It's very bizarre stuff. And so maybe that's why it's grown so much without getting like any real criticism. Because even now, very limited criticism for these podcasts and whatnot. For considering the insane shit, like we just watched Fresh and Fit, we watched Myron just basically tell a woman she was never raped, and that like if you don't want to get raped, then just pick a better man. And it's incredible when it comes to a woman getting raped, just pick better men. But when it comes to a man dealing with a woman, it's like, oh well, it's a woman's fault. Like, oh, pick better women. You know what I mean? So interesting.
Now, this was the part that was probably the dumbest part of the whole interview. This was the stupidest, the dumbest. Oh, this was stupid. So I said that slavery was embellished in the interview.
Damn.
Now that not only is that comment insensitive, it's not accurate. There were things in slavery.
So then why'd you say it?
That were worse than what was shown on TV. What I was referring to, I really don't even want to tell you guys what I was trying to say because it wasn't what came out, and
No, explain it.
it doesn't even matter. Again, if
I think and maybe I'm wrong. I genuinely think that she was just trying to say that black people complain about slavery too much. I honestly think.
if you watch the full thing, I was more referring to the system of using atrocities to control people. That's what I was trying to say. But to say that it wasn't.
So you're saying that black people are being emotionally manipulated through the usage of slavery? Oh, base take, Pearl. Jesus Christ.
That it was embellished is so stupid.
Okay.
So stupid, insensitive.
Wow.
And nor am I, I'm sure I've read a couple books, but I'm not informed or qualified enough to really have that conversation.
You're not qualified to have any fucking conversation, Pearl. I surely think so. Like you just engage with the world in such a embarrassing way.
So not bringing someone else onto the show, again, stupid.
Okay.
Now, the next thing is that my friend Gabby came on the show with him, and she's dating someone that is black.
Mm-hmm.
And he would say openly racist comments to her. Now, I should have pushed back on that. Like, I've been in interracial relationships, so...
Yeah, you didn't push back. You're a coward.
For me to not push...
You sat there uncomfortably. I wish I could find the clip.
...back on that, especially with all of the people that have been on my show, was stupid. It was stupid. I just... I was kind of like a deer in the headlights. I didn't know what to say. I was like, oh, gosh. And the video we were watching wasn't even supposed to be about that, so... I really don't have an excuse. It was just stupid. And, again, I take full accountability for this stuff. And, if I had to do it over again, I would do it differently, but I can only move forward. So,
Papa got there's a lot of criticism for the manosphere in the black YouTube scene. Yeah, okay. What I was trying to say is there's nobody that's okay, let me try to give you an example of what I'm referring to. So you guys know Glenn and Cameron, right? This real scum piece of shit who bragged about raping a 16, 17-year-old girl with the help of their mother. Somebody who's talked about how he had sex with we get nude pictures from girls that were under 16 years old, bragged about it, wouldn't be accurate about the age of consent, wouldn't be explicit about it. He was just as long as they look old enough, this person who's praised Viking rape culture and men take whatever they want. Nobody, only black people and me, I guess, criticized him for this disgusting behavior. And I remember nobody else cared. And I don't know why. On the H3 podcast, this was a while ago. I remember I was I had my fans were going in there and saying something. And apparently Ethan was on a pee break at one point, and Dan or something saw the Glenn Cameron thing and he acknowledged it, and they just never talked about it. And so it's just something bizarre about how white people are afraid to engage with these issues. It's a real issue. It's a praising of actual rape culture, and then there's also disrespect of black women in some of these spaces. You hear black women all the time talk about some spaces, and I'm not saying that this is exclusive to black people, but they're saying that there's a lot of anti fucking black women shit going on in some of these spaces as well, disproportionate disrespect. And so, nobody calls it out except for other black content creators. That's it. White people are too afraid to call out a fucking, bad shit. Sometimes it just seems so bizarre. You'd think you'd want to just call out bad behavior, but maybe it's not a race thing. Maybe people just don't want to engage with other audiences, like I was saying before. I don't really know, but maybe that's all it really was.
So I want to make sure that I addressed everything. I think I did. Okay, because I talked about recruiting. I talked about. Okay. So, moving forward, I really would be open to having a discussion with someone that can bring more awareness and education to the situation. So I'm open to you guys' suggestions in the comments. I also invite anybody that's made a video about me or has comments to address with me to go on Obsidian's stream tonight. It's 8 p.m. GMT. Blessing will also be there. And yeah, because I don't want to run from this stuff. A lot of this stuff was not well thought out. A lot of this stuff.
Yeah, as an issue fan, I do agree to have selective outreach. Yeah, this was a time where it was James Charles was prevalent, and what he did was wrong. He was talking about a 16-year-old, 22 or whatever, which is definitely wrong. But then you got a 30-something-year-old or a guy who's 50 bragging about how when he was in his 30s he was assaulting women or girls, and it's I feel if we're gonna be angry about one thing, this is a person that shouldn't be glorified. They never called it out.
Stuff I could have done better, and I do take full accountability for that. So. go on the stream if you got something to say. I also would like to say I really don't have beef with anyone in the space that made videos about me. I understand where they were coming from. I understand where I went wrong. And I really think they had a lot of valid criticisms about me. So let me know what you guys think. I really did my best to address all of the comments in a concise way. I'm not trying to play the victim. Everything in this that has happened is my fault. And I'm just, yeah, my fault.
Okay.
And I will do better in the future. So let me know in the comments what you guys think.
Okay.
Like the video on your way out, I guess, or don't. You know, you can
thanks.
just, oh shoot, they don't have a dislike button anymore. But
They do, and you know they do.
Anyways, thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you on Obsidian's channel tonight.
See, he's right here. Whoa. Anyway, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. Terrible. She's something else, huh? We'll watch. Oh wait, I was gonna watch this really quick. This is just for things also plagiarized.
Is it okay for women to feel entitled to being protected and provided for, but it is why is it okay for women to feel entitled to being protected and provided for, but it is wrong for men to feel entitled to sex and intimacy?
It's a really loaded question. It's not wrong for either of these things. It's just the way that we're talking about it. Like, first of all, if a woman wants a woman has every right to want a relationship, anybody does, where like they're financially provided for, and the guy has every right to be like, I have a high sex drive, I want to have sex with you more. That doesn't mean that you should force things from somebody. You know, like if a guy's in a relationship with a girl and he's providing financially and the girl's like, I don't want to have sex today, that doesn't mean that he could rape her. It just means that like, oh, you have every right to leave her and go find somebody who is willing to do those things for you. Like, this is just boundaries. But the way that it's asked almost feels like it's like on the spot. Like, no, like if I was making hundreds of $1,000s a year and I wanted to date a girl just for sex, and she just wanted money from me, and like she didn't want to have sex with me anymore, I would just break up with her and find a new girl. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to like entitled and sex, it's a different. It puts it into people's minds a lot, where it's like, oh, force sex right now. You have no right to force somebody to have sex with you ever in any capacity. You can leave somebody if their sex drive doesn't match yours. You know what I mean? I mean, you should also learn to be like a fucking adult. And like, if you want to have sex right there and the person's on the mood, like that's okay. Like they should be able to establish boundaries. Just like if the girl's like, I want you to buy me this, and you're like, no, not right now. These are okay things. But like a general trend of a girl wanting to be provided for and a guy wanting to have a lot of sex, like as long as it's consensual and the relationship's being met, who cares? And if it's not, then just break up with somebody. You don't need to like, because it just comes off as like, what do you want to manipulate somebody? But okay.
Why is it okay for a woman to feel entitled to be protected and provided for, but it's wrong for a man to feel entitled to sex and intimacy?
I feel like it's a common dumb fucking question. No?
Why are there some women who shame men for...
Wait a minute. Is this from the channel that people constantly react to? Like, it's complicated channel? Or is that a different channel? Okay. Whatever. These aren't exactly like new questions. Like, I doubt that the It's Complicated channel came up with these questions first. It's been asked for a long time.
But it's wrong for a man to feel entitled to sex and intimacy.
Why are there some women who shame men for being horny when testosterone is a male hormone?
What does that even mean? Shame men for being horny? I've never even heard this before. Are men shamed for being horny? I guess. I mean, I'm a dog. I don't know. Probably because I fuck some animals when I'm really too horny. I go into werewolf mode. I guess. Okay, what are your questions?
Why must men put up with female hormones being emotional and crazy, but women can't put up with male hormones being horny?
Okay. I mean, I guess they do. And also anger is because testosterone relates to anger as well. Okay.
Someone commits a crime, do you blame the criminal or do you blame society?
Oh, that's a great comment. It depends on the conversation. Like, both. It depends on what it is. Like if somebody who grew up, somebody who was like born into like a drug addict home who never got anything and they start stealing because they have no other opportunity because there's no jobs in their area and they stole, you punish that person because they crossed the line. But then you also go like, fuck, how could we have prevented this as a community, like as a society and as a community? You look at both. There's individual versus like systemic conversation. You know, if you're noticing disproportionate crime in a particular area, it might be worth dumping resources into that area to reduce the crime or the necessity of crime, because a lot of people commit crime out of necessity. Do they mean just horny or unable to control yourself sexually? Yeah, that's a great question. That's the problem. Is like, which one do they mean? Because it's fine that men are horny. I'm horny too. Like, let me tell you, the other day, my wife and I were sleeping, and I had a weird like dream where I just took my hand, I just put it right in my wife's pussy, and I just started fingering her. And I woke up later, and she's like, you know, when you were sleeping, you started like fucking. And I was like, whoa, shit! I actually did it. I didn't even realize. I was just like in there, like a fucking bowling ball. And she's like, I pulled away. That's me being horny. There, and then she's like, oh, it's okay. She just didn't want to have sex, so she rolled over. So like, there's nothing wrong with what I did. She's like, oh yeah, whatever. But if I like took it from her because I was horny, that's the problem. So there's a difference between putting up with horniness, which sometimes my wife does, versus like putting up with being raped. These are two fundamentally different things. I'm sorry, it's too much info. Listen, it's a little bit of guys. It's just telling truth through funny. The fundamental point is that there's nothing wrong with one person being horny as long as they'll adhere to a boundary of like, I don't want to do this. That's it. That's all it boils down to. So
when somebody commits a crime, do we blame the criminal or do we blame society?
Well, if a woman is attacked in public and a man is attacked in public, who do you think is more likely to be rescued?
Probably the woman, I guess. Usually the attacker is another man, though. And so usually women aren't as capable as defending themselves against men than men are. So I guess that would be their answer there. We should help men too, though. I guess that's your question. I don't know.
If a woman and a man are attacked in public, who is more likely to be rescued?
When was the last time you apologized?
What was the last thing that you apologized for?
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Do women
That comment I just made about my wife. Sorry.
have a right to be afraid of men when 80% of all violent crime is done by men?
What? Wait. Wow, that was unintelligent as fuck. Hold on.
For?
Do women have a right to be afraid of men when 80% of all violent crime is done by men?
Okay, so what they asked is, the question doesn't make any sense. Okay, the question should have been like, do women have a right to complain about being attacked by men when the majority of people who are attacked are men? But what they actually said is, do women have the right to be afraid of men when the majority of attackers are men? So your question is, you're an idiot for phrasing your question like that. But like, attackers are disproportionately men. So like, yeah, I think women have the right to be a little afraid of men in general. Sure, why not?
Do women have a right to be afraid of men when 80% of violent crime is done by men?
How?
That just proves your point. You guys are that is the old, like, if you were intelligent, you would have been like, that's silly. Of course, women have, like, yes, most of the people doing crimes are men, then I would be more afraid of men, no? I mean, I'm going to be real with you. I'm more afraid of men when I'm walking the street. That's a natural male reaction. I don't go like, huh. But when you're a man, especially when you see, like, another big or threatening guy, you know, you puff your chest out a little bit more, and you just make sure that they know that you're a presence, that you don't have to be aggressive about it. But, like, yeah, like, I'm not usually worried about a woman walking up to me on the street and attacking me, you know? This is just like normal ways that we interact with each other. You know, I don't understand.
How is that different than fearing certain races based on statistical data?
How is that different than fearing certain races because of statistical data?
Okay, so for one, I would say that the difference between men and women are drastically different than the difference between black and white or any other race. That's number one. Number two, I guess it's not necessarily. Okay. I mean, here's the thing. I don't really care. I guess I don't really care. You know, I don't think that you should be assigning a particular behavior to a group of people, especially when there's like the context of systemic racism. And we know that like disproportionate like crime being committed by particular groups, at least in America, has a lot to do with the different opportunities and the different ways that people grew up with the denial of particular opportunities or resources in some capacity. You know, there's like generational trauma, like, because of course you'd be pissed off if a fucking entire country enslaved you and then gave you rights in 1965 and still fucking lynched you in trees. Obviously, there's going to be a different interaction with the world. Like, so like versus men and women, I wouldn't really say there's much of a systemic issue. I mean, maybe there's a systemic issue of like general poverty. I mean, like we're seeing the divide between like the rich and the poor and middle class go up drastically as time goes on with the rich and the middle class. And so like maybe we would have less violent men if we had better distribution of resources. Okay.
Why is it okay for women to be sexist but not racist?
What? I don't even understand the question.
Why do you think it's okay for women to be sexist but not racist?
I don't know if I understand the question. What, is it okay for women to be sexist? I mean, I guess on the internet, like people like Drew Afuelo, kind of. I don't think it's okay. Okay, I don't even know.
Why is it when a man cheats, he's a cheater, but when a woman cheats, it's because she's not satisfied?
No, both of them are a cheater. This is a terminally online perspective. I don't know what to tell you.
Why is it that when a man cheats, he's a cheater, but when a woman cheats, she's not satisfied in the relationship?
but you're a cheater either way.
Who takes more accountability, men or women, and why?
I think it's just people, depending on how responsible they are. Like
women.
Who takes more accountability, men or women?
Men.
Why is male sexuality so stigmatized?
Why do you think male sexuality is so stigmatized?
because of just normalized homophobia. It's more appropriate. Like we tell young boys not to experiment with each other when they're young, but we don't say anything about young girls. We have like an overly sexualized view of like lesbians in society, where we think that like gay guys are disgusting. Like it just comes down to like, well, I guess there you go. There's a systemic reason to oppress men. That's a society thing. I'm going to say men probably created that standard. I don't think women necessarily care as much. I'm not going to say that women didn't uphold it, because I'm sure that they did in some capacity, but okay.
If a guy cheats, can he blame society?
And so if a guy cheats, can he blame society?
What? What's the rest of the question? What?
Would you agree that the best means of physical protection in our society would either be owning a gun or calling the police?
What is a better form of protection? Owning a gun or calling the police?
Probably a gun, because like you could shoot them right there if you needed to.
Why do you think that men are still expected to be protectors when a woman is just as capable of calling the police or firing a gun as a man?
Because guns are usually illegal, and you guys are in like London, and they're difficult to get, so you can't just have a gun on you at all times. Most people don't live in an area where you have guns. Wow, these people are dumb as fuck.
Why are men expected to be protectors when women are just as capable of firing a gun or calling the police?
Would you trust a female cop to stop a sexual assault?
Would you
Yeah, why not? They have a gun. They actually have guns. Yes.
trust a female cop to stop a sexual assault?
Who would you trust more, talking to a domestic abuse victim, a female cop or a male cop? Because I'm going to tell you 1,000% a woman cop. Most people who are domestically abused are women. Or at least in a more violent capacity, and you probably need a female cop there to talk to them. It's just probably a little better because they have a trauma with the male. I understand that there are issues back and forth because women can get away with hitting men and it wouldn't be considered domestic abuse because it usually doesn't hurt as much. And we've all, I've been there. But like that's just kind of the reality. And to further note, if we actually enforce the gun laws in America of taking away guns from domestic abusive men, we'd see a lot less gun death. Just saying.
Also, I want to give credit where credit's due. A lot of these questions are from It's Complicated channel. You guys should go follow him.
Oh, okay. So then you wait. This is the dumbest video I've ever seen. What? Pearl needs to say this was a question with IC every time she asked it because her content is mainly propagated with clips by putting reference at the end of the 4-hour live stream versus a clip. It deceives the audience who mainly watches the clips into thinking that she's the one coming up with the questions. Not really. These questions aren't really that deep, and you probably got them from other places. Why are you crying and bitching? It's a free shout out. Like, people religiously fucking react. Like, your entire channel only blew up because of reactions of like other content creators, and I know that for a fact. And now you're complaining because somebody's basically reacting to you. Like, wow, what? This channel is just jumping on the anti-Pearl bandwagon.
Yeah. So a lot of these, he's very good at what he does. I steal them from him. I did get a lot of these questions from the It's Complicated channel. Okay. Literally, this man has the best questions and the best content. So if you want to give him a follow, please do so. Or wait, I'm on YouTube. A subscribe, please do so.
This is her actively shouting you out by asking really basic, dumb fucking questions, and you're pretending that like you put this profound mental capacity into it. Sharing general talking points. This is so weird. Why are you complaining about that? She deceives the audience who mainly watches her clips and thinking she's the one that came up with it. What a loser. Oh my god, what a fucking victim. Okay.
I want Papa Gut to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.